Hello and welcome everyone on this official platform of Legacy IAS Academy. So today in this session we are going to discuss one of the most important issue which is there in your newspaper, that is one nation one election. Now there are various news headlines with respect to one nation one election. Does one nation one election a feasible option? So today in this session, we will be discussing what is one nation, one election, okay, how it was started, and is it feasible or not currently, okay. So there are various news headlines which were there in Indian Express newspaper. So these are the news cuttings of Indian Express, okay. So this topic, one nation, one election, comes under GS paper 2, polity and governance. Polity and governance. And it is also considered as one of the most important topics, okay, which is there in current affairs. So what happened is recently the central government had set up a panel, okay, by a former president whose name was Ramnath Kovind, and that commission is set up to explore the feasibility of one nation one election plan. So let me tell you first of all that what are the important things with respect to elections that are given in our constitution. Clear? So as you can see on your screen that recently central government had set up a panel headed by former president, that is Ramnath Kovind, okay, to explore the feasibility of one nation one election plan. Clear? So in our constitution there is article 324. Now this article 324 which talks about election commission, it constitute election commission, an election commission which is a constitutional body, and this body is sole responsible for conducting the elections of the offices of president, vice president of India, parliament, state assemblies and legislative councils. Clear? So when we say simultaneous elections, so the word simultaneous elections has been used. Simultaneous elections. So what is this simultaneous election? Simultaneous elections means structuring the Indian election cycle in such a manner that it can synchronize the elections of Lok Sabha as well as state assemblies. That means the elections of Lok Sabha and state assemblies can be held together at the same time. Okay, that is called as simultaneous election. So whether it is going to benefit us, it is going to benefit Indian system. So it means that voter will cast their vote for electing members of Lok Sabha. So when simultaneous election will happen, so voters will cast their vote for electing members of Lok Sabha and also state assemblies, okay, on a single day, on a single day, okay, single day and at the same time, okay, or you can say in a phased manner also, okay, so it depends. Clear? So simultaneous election, that means elections can held at the same time, parliament as well as state assemblies election. Now if you see the current scenario, what is the current scenario? So the current scenario is that the elections to the state assemblies and the Lok Sabha are held separately at different times. Clear? Okay. So current scenario if you see, so the elections of Lok Sabha and state assemblies, okay, are held separately. Clear? Remember this thing. So whenever the incumbent government 5 years terms ends, okay, or whenever it is dissolved. Clear? That is the main motive. Okay, that is why if you see the tenure of Lok Sabha and if you see the state assemblies, the elections of both, okay, elections of both are held at different times. Clear? This is the main reason. So what is the history behind this? So when we say history or historical background behind this, so let me tell you that when India got its independence, and that is on 15th of August 1947, and India became republic on 26th of January 1950. Okay, so after that India's first election was held, and at that time there was only single party dominance, that is Congress party was there at that time. Okay, so try to understand the historical background. So initially there was single party dominance, that is Congress party. So Lok Sabha and state legislature went to election in 1952 and 1957. Now in 1952 and in 1957, the Lok Sabha and state assemblies election, Lok Sabha and state assemblies elections were held together. Clear? Because at that time single party dominance, even in states also Congress party was there. Clear? That is the main reason. Now in 1959 there was a change. In 1959 there was a change. Clear? So let me tell you, in 1959 there was a change in terms of what? Because in 1959 this synchronized cycle in the sense, that means the Lok Sabha and state assemblies which were held together, this synchronized cycle of election was broken. Okay, now why it was broken? The main reason was center invoked Article 356, that is state emergency present rule in Kerala. Center invoked Article 356 in Kerala, and this article dismissed Kerala government. Clear? So this dismissed Kerala government before its terms. Clear? And this trend was followed by state elections from 1960. So this was followed by state elections in 1960. So this was followed by state elections in 1960. And since then, the elections of state assemblies and Lok Sabha, okay, so was held separately. Getting my point? Another important reason, emergence of regional parties. Yes. So because of defections and counter defections resulted into the dissolution of assemblies. So because of defections and counter defections, okay, so these things ultimately resulted into the dissolution of assemblies. Dissolution of assemblies. Clear? And this also separated the election cycle. This also separated the election cycle of Lok Sabha election and state assemblies. Clear? And because of defections and counter defections, birth of regional parties also. So after 1967, you will see that the birth of regional parties started. Clear? Then another important thing, revert to simultaneous election. Now, again, Election Commission from 1983 started saying that we should again revert to simultaneous elections. Clear? So the idea of reverting the simultaneous election, this idea was first given by Election Commission. This idea was first given by Election Commission in 1983, and then Parliamentary Standing Committee was formed in 2015. Parliament Standing Committee. So it was formed in 2015, and this committee also said that feasibility of holding simultaneous election to the Lok Sabha and state assemblies should be there. So in 2015, Parliamentary Standing Committee also says same thing, and then Law Commission report came in 2018. Law Commission report. So Law Commission report says that Law Commission report in 1999 and 2018 also says that simultaneous election should be held of Lok Sabha as well as state assemblies, and in 2017 Niti Aayog also says the same thing, that simultaneous elections should be held. Getting my point? So different committees were formed and they gave their recommendation that simultaneous election should be held. Then the last thing is completion of tenures. Now, why this you can say why this Lok Sabha and state assemblies elections, okay, were held separately? So because of anti-defection law. Clear? So it is mainly because of anti-defection law of 1985 and Supreme Court judgments for invoking the Article 356. Getting my point? So now try to understand. Okay, now try to understand that Supreme Court said that President can put President can put article, or you can say state assembly. So Supreme Court said that President can put state assembly in suspended animation. Okay, but President cannot dissolve it, okay, without the concurrence of Parliament. That means President can suspend state assemblies, but President cannot dissolve the assemblies without the approval of Parliament. Clear? Now, further, the validity of the proclamation of present rule may be examined by judiciary. If President is imposing present rule or state emergency, that is Article 356, so the validity of that emergency may be examined by judiciary. So the validity of Article 356 may be examined by judiciary, because it has seen various times that central government misused Article 356 for their political gains. So why judiciary is going to examine this? Because it hurts the election cycle of state assemblies as well as parliament election. This is the main reason. I hope this much is clear to all of you. Okay, now before this, so now try to understand why it is necessary to held simultaneous elections of Lok Sabha and state assemblies. What are the reasons? So holding a simultaneous elections, it will reduce the burden. Okay, so holding simultaneous elections will reduce the burden. Will reduce burden of four things. Now what are those four things? First is fund. Yes, the most important thing. See, in elections, the massive expenditure that is currently incurred for the conduct of separate election. Okay, so if elections are held separate, okay, it requires massive expenditure, massive funds. So if simultaneous elections are held, then it will reduce the expenditure. Then policy paralysis. Policy paralysis. Now it also results from the imposition of model code of conduct during the election time. Yes. Okay, that is the important thing, because before the elections, model code of conduct is imposed so that no political parties, they cannot use any political agenda or propaganda. Getting my point? So model code of conduct, MCC. Clear? Another thing is impact. Now impact on delivery of essential services. So it will also reduce the impact of delivery on essential services. And then burden. So holding simultaneous election will also reduce the burden on crucial manpower, because in election, during the time of elections, election duties are held. Clear? So many manpower is required. Okay, so during the time of elections, manpower is deployed during the poll time. Getting my point? This is also, so it will also reduce the burden of crucial manpower. Clear? So these four are some important things. Clear? Now what are the advantages of simultaneous election? So first, we have already discussed, it will reduce the expenditure. Second, it reduce the manpower, as we have discussed just now. Clear? Third thing, it improves the governance also. Okay, it improves the governance. Now how it is going to improve the governance? Because if you see, the system will help in ruling parties focus on governance. Okay, so this system holding simultaneous election, this will help ruling parties to focus on governance instead of being constantly in election mode. Getting my point? So they will focus on policies, they will focus on governance. So it will reduce the distraction from long-term planning and policy goals. And then another important thing, boost voter turnout. Yes, according to Law Commission. So Law Commission says that it will increase the voter participation. So if simultaneous elections are held, it will increase voter participation. Clear? And then improve administration. This will also improve administration. Now how it is going to improve administration? Because when the focus on administrative machinery is increased, okay, then it will also help in developmental needs. So the increased focus on administration resulted into the fulfillment of developmental needs. Clear? And then reduce policy paralysis. Yes. Now this system will result into the minimization of disruption of essential services. So if simultaneous elections are held, minimal disruption of essential services. This much is clear to all of you. This is the most important thing. Now there are certain challenges in holding the election, which this another article discuss. okay, in the newspaper, that is Indian Express. So there is a news that 3 million EVMs, massive security and funds. These are some important challenges in holding the simultaneous elections. So this news article talks about, okay, discuss about the challenges. Okay, so in this news article, so this article discuss the challenges in holding simultaneous elections. Okay, now what are the challenges, okay, in holding these simultaneous elections? So the first challenge is logistical issues. Yes. Now, how logistical issues? As you can see here in the headline itself, 3 million EVMs. It requires around 30 lakh EVMs. Okay, 30 lakh EVM machines, and it will take around 1 year to manufacture 30 million EVMs. That means for 2024, one nation, one election is not possible. Clear? Second thing, increased man force. So if simultaneous elections are held, okay, if simultaneous elections are held, then man force will also be increased. Okay, increased man force. So it needs immense deployment of the central forces around the country. Clear? So it needs immense deployment of central forces around country. Clear? This is also the most important challenge. As you can see, a massive security. And the third thing is lack of synchronization. Yes. Now, how lack of synchronization? See, parliament and state elections were held simultaneously till 1967. Okay. Now, over the years, assemblies and Lok Sabha elections, okay, are held separately, because over the year, the assemblies and Lok Sabha were dissolved at different time before the end of their terms. Okay, so that is the important thing. Currently, if you see, currently, so this year, currently, elections to the Andhra Pradesh, elections to the Arunachal Pradesh, and elections to the Orissa and Sikkim are held along with Lok Sabha election. Only these four states: Arunachal Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Sikkim, and Odisha. These four states elections will be held simultaneously with Lok Sabha elections. And then apart from this, what are the opinion of chief election commissioners? Opinion of chief election commissioners. Now, if you see the opinion of chief elections commissioners or retired chief election commissioners, there are different opinions. Clear? And then another important thing is infrastructure deficit is also there. Infrastructure deficit. Now, why infrastructure deficit? Because we need 30 lakh EVMs. Okay, we need 13 lakh control units also. 13 lakh. So if you see currently there are 13 lakh control units. Currently there are 13 lakh control units, 17 lakh ballot units. Clear? So if simultaneous elections are held, that is of Lok Sabha and state assemblies, it requires more infrastructure. So currently we are having lack of infrastructure. Getting my point? And it requires 1 year to manufacture 3 million EVMs also. Clear? And then time constraints. Time constant. So it will take a year, okay, to manufacture 6 to 7 lakh EVMs. Clear? So it is an impossible task to hold one nation, one election in 2024. This is an impossible task. Clear? So these are some important things which are important challenges. These are some are important challenges. Okay, under one nation, one election. Clear? That is the important thing. Another important challenge was complexity. Another is complexity. Now, how in terms of complexity? Now, it would benefit national party, central party. So, this one nation, one election would benefit nationally dominant party. Clear? At the cost of regional players. So, there is complexity. Okay. Remember this thing. And another thing is unstable government. Now, how unstable government? Now, try to understand. Complications would arise if any of the government were to collapse before the completing of its term. Even central government could fall, and this would result into the fall of ineffective administration. Okay, if any government dismissed or fall before the completion of its term, okay, then it would result into the ineffective administration. That is the most important thing. Clear? So these are some challenges which are explained in the newspaper. Clear? So we need to understand these challenges. Clear? Now the question here is how to address these challenges. How to address these challenges. So in newspaper itself, various solutions are given, like Law Commission report of 2018. Now this report says that the simultaneous elections could not be held within the existing framework of constitution. This report says that simultaneous elections could not be held within existing framework of constitution. Now, if it could not be held within the existing framework of constitution, that means these could be held together through the appropriate amendments, that is constitutional amendments. So for this, there is a need of constitutional amendments. Okay, there is a need of amendment in Representation of People Act 1951. Clear? And there is a need for amendment in Rule of Procedures of Lok Sabha and State Assemblies. So there is a need of amendment in this 1951. There is a need for amendment in Rules of Procedure in Lok Sabha and State Assemblies. So amendment is required. Okay, that is the important thing. Clear? So this is how Law Commission expressed the solution. Okay, that how to handle this challenge. So if you need amendment, then this amendment which is going to affect the states also, that means that this amendment has to be ratified by 50% of the states. That means this amendment has to be ratified by at least 50% of the states. Getting my point? So this is a challenging task. Clear? Remember this thing. So I hope this much is clear to all of you, which is a very important topic for all the students, those who are preparing for civil services examination under GS paper 2, that is polity, constitution and government. So for more such videos, you can like and subscribe our channel, that is Legacy IAS Academy. Thank you so much.